Strap yourselves in and make sure to bring your EpiPens because we have episode 2 of Nightflyers, so prepare to get probed. Picking up where episode 1 left off, Carl extinguishes Crispy Murphy and finds out he's still alive as Thale ventures further into the ship. Lomi, nearly having gotten herself trapped in the computer, goes back to her cabin and experiences horrific flashbacks. They seem to be of someone tied to a chair with terrible lacerations all over his body. It shows Lomi in the past brutally torturing this man, beating him with a hammer. It also appears to take place on Earth, or at least some planet with sunlight coming through. She's interrupted by Thale, who is able to see this memory. Since she knows the ship, he wants her help to get to the domes. She says he can use the maglev tunnels to get there. Maglev, a reference to the magnetic levitation system used by trains in which the train levitates off the ground to get from point A to point B. Thale blackmails her. If she tells anyone she saw him, he'll then tell them about her dark secret. Murphy gets some much-needed rest in the medbay, while Agatha and Carl tell Captain Eris his priority should be to find which crew member let Thale out. But the captain isn't having it and still thinks Thale is a massive threat. And here we see Agatha taking the maglev in search of Thale before she finds this man bleeding from his orifices, proclaiming, "He's in my head." Now, I'm not exactly against Thale here. All of his actions so far have been in self-defense. He's not 100% evil, so I'm interested to see where this goes. In her room, we catch Lomi tinkering with her neural port. She's obviously trying to hide something, as we can tell when Mel arrives she hides a device under her bed. Lomi opens up about what happened the other day. Something in the computer wanted her dead. Mel finds the blood seeping from Lomi's arm, and it appears that Lomi may have been trying to remove her neural port. But before she can explain, she once again witnesses this man, tied up, laughing at her. Now, I think it's safe to say this isn't Thale. He's already got what he wants from her, leading me to believe another L1 is on board. The security team finds Agatha, and the search for Thale begins in the dome. Carl and Agatha find him first and seem to be making some progress before the security team scares him off, making Thale believe this was all a setup. But as Carl goes off, he's whacked in the head by Suchek. Augie questions the captain, saying that with 3 men down and them being only a colony ship, perhaps they should turn back. Eris says it's out of the question, and judging by the look on Augie's face, he isn't too happy with the decision. Perhaps this is sowing the seeds for a mutiny later on. Bonus points if you spotted what appears to be Jupiter in the background. Suchek and Dobrin lead the security team into the dome and split up when Suchek spots Thale and blasts him with his energy gun. Seeing his moment to rid the Nightflyer of the L1 for good, he takes out his knife before he's stopped by Dobrin. It isn't Thale, rather one of his men. Thale's mind control powers are just too much. Thale then takes the opportunity to pick up one of the guns the men dropped. Carl confronts Eris, once again claiming Thale's innocence, but the captain isn't having it. So Carl storms off, claiming he'll prove Thale did nothing wrong. Suchek and Dobrin visit one of the lab techs in search of something robotic to stop Thale, something he can't control. They want to retrofit one of these spiders with lasers.
And that is to have sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads.
Under the dome, Thale is visited by Crazy Bee Lady over here, but she seems unfazed even though Thale has a gun pointed at her. She tells him he has the colony in an uproar, but in this scene it has a double meaning. Is she referring to the ship or the colony of bees she can seemingly control around her? Also worth noting is that the sound around them make it so that Thale can't read her mind. Nonetheless, he takes her as his prisoner. Carl has another sweet moment with his dead daughter, who is seemingly possessed by something, but at least he knows she's not real. I think it's safe to assume it's not Thale doing this. He then visits Rowan, expressing his concerns Eris might abort the mission. They have to launch the White Rabbit early, a probe which I'm assuming will make contact with the Vulcaran. Carl and Agatha take a burned Murphy out of the medbay for their plan, as Lomi is caught by Augie trying to access the ship's memory storage. Perhaps Murphy's memory will exonerate Thale. Augie helps them out, but something tells me he's not the most trustworthy person.
You can trust me.
Rowan and Mel make the proper adjustments to the White Rabbit. The White Rabbit symbolic of Alice in Wonderland, like how Alice followed the White Rabbit into the unknown. Bee Lady introduces herself as Tessia. For someone who is the prisoner of an L1, she actually seems like the one who's in control here, probing Thale to learn more about him. Also interesting is the name Tessia, which means harvester. Keep that in the back of your mind for now. Carl and Agatha hook Murphy up to the memory machine, and we learn Augie actually set up a mirror program so he could also see what's going on. We learn the truth that it was Thale who lit him on fire. but since there may be someone else on board who we know can manipulate minds, there is still the possibility it wasn't Thale. Our memories often play tricks on us, and if Murphy were being manipulated by this other force, it's possible it made him see Thale light him on fire when it actually wasn't. Rowan and Mel launch the probe before Mel pleads to Eris to trust Carl, but even more foreboding is Eris telling her that the mission faces a threat she doesn't understand, a threat beyond a rogue L1. The spider bot seems to be malfunctioning, and judging by the red security camera over here, it seems as though something has infiltrated the ship's system. The same red camera is seen when Captain Eris does a complete 180 and informs Carl he'll cover up Thale's murder, leading me to believe this isn't the captain at all, or at least he's been compromised. He even asks Augie to delete the footage he recorded which shows the apparent truth of the murder. Back in the mission lab, the robotic spider that's going to be used to kill Thale has its coding rewritten. Coding written so fast it couldn't be done by a human. The spider then proceeds to massacre Dobrin and the lab tech. Carl and Agatha visit Thale to take him back to his dome, but the interesting thing about this scene is that even though we see Tessia, she never speaks to anyone else, and no one acknowledges her presence. This is someone who's been held prisoner, and no one even asks if she's okay. Is Tessia simply in Thale's mind? Mel encourages Lomi to get back into the system to find out what's going on with the probe, while Eris investigates the aftermath of the spider attack. It looks like Suchek made it. For how long, we don't know, but the spider is now loose on the ship. Carl has a call with Joy, who seems to be undergoing some therapy which removes all the bad feelings associated with the loss of their daughter. Another hint that memories in this universe can be manipulated or even deleted. In the corridor, Eris explains to Carl that there's a force on board trying to jeopardize the mission, but he can't explain any further without compromising the safety of everyone on board. And Carl just ain't having it. Eris ventures back into the mission lab and finds the spider, which he's easily able to override with a voice command. He talks to the security camera saying, "This time you've gone too far," as the episode ends. Now I'm inclined to believe that whatever thing is controlling and manipulating the ship is Eris's mother, who has somehow been turned into an AI. After all, Eris even says that his mother really never cared about the colony. She cared more about being a legend, living on forever. It's not just coincidence that this is the first episode in which Eris's mother has been brought up multiple times. I also don't think this is the last time we'll see Tessia, who seems to have somewhat supernatural powers in line with Thale's. I'm interested to see where that goes. I hope you enjoyed watching this breakdown. I'm planning to do more of this series as it goes on, so make sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with everything Nightflyers. And remember, Daddy loves you very much.